Hello. The story I'm going to be reading today is a story that I remember from my childhood. I've been read it quite a few times by my parents as a younger kid, and so I chose it. Okay. The story is called The Emperor's New Clothes. It was written by the Disney Foundation, and its characters include the Emperor, the General, the Prime Minister, the two weavers, and the townspeople. The story goes as following. There once was an emperor who was obsessed with clothes. He was so obsessed that he had a robe for every hour of every day. He even had one entire floor of his palace completely covered with clothing, but he still wanted more. And one day, two weavers came to the palace and offered him a deal. They said that they could make a magical cloth that fools could not see for him in exchange for 20 bags of gold. He, the emperor, thought that that sounds like a good deal. He wants to see who in the kingdom is a fool. So he takes them up on their offer. So the emperor told them to begin immediately. He gave them the finest silk and the finest gold thread and had them work with the royal loom. But the weavers didn't use the material. They instead put it in their bags. They sat and did nothing, for they were not weavers. They planned to trick the emperor. A few days later, the emperor sent the prime minister to go check on the progress of the cloth. Upon seeing an empty loom, the prime minister thought to himself, "Oh my, am I a fool? I must not let anyone know." So he told them that it was beautiful and magnificent, and he reported the same back to the emperor. And a couple days later, the emperor sent the general in to look at it, and the same thing happened. He didn't see it, and he didn't want to be seen a fool. So he told everyone that it was that it was the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. And the emperor, hearing this, he got super excited, and he went in with the prime minister and he showed them the empty loom. The emperor walks in with the prime minister into the royal loom room, and when he couldn't see anything, he panicked because he was told that only fools can't see this. So he believed himself to be a fool. So he pretended and said, "Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. This is the best I've ever seen. The colors are so amazing and it looks just so well put together." Okay, so he then offers the weavers the 20 bags of gold that they were promised in the beginning, and then he says that if they make him clothes for the parade and he likes them, he will give them 20 more bags of gold. So, in the following days, the weavers began to pretend to work harder than ever, staying up all night, cutting and sewing until they said they were done. On the day of the parade, the weavers presented the emperor with empty hands. "Beautiful," cried the emperor. He gave the weavers the 20 bags of gold. Then they pretended to put the clothes on the emperor. He walked in front of the mirror and said, "Perfect fit," even though he was only wearing underwear. The parade begins. Crowds of people came to the parade to see the new clothes. "They say the clothes are magic," said one man. "People say that fools can't see them," said a woman. Everyone was wondering, will I be able to see them? At last, the emperor walked out. All the people cried, "Oh, how beautiful! What pretty colors and such a perfect fit!" But of course, no one could see them. Just then, a little girl shouted, "But he's naked!" This made everyone realize that he was, in fact, in his underwear. The emperor heard then and suddenly knew they were right. He was the fool. He had been tricked. But there was nothing he could do, so he kept marching, thinking, "Just wait until I get my hands on them." But it was too late. The weavers had already run off with the gold, for they were no fools.